Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. Remember, you have greatness inside of you. Welcome back to another episode of the Habs Daily News with the hockey coach, Coach Frenchy. Today, episode number 328. What do you mean, coach? First of all, the NHL Draft Goalies ranking 2023, following by the Montreal Canadiens news. And finally, no rumor, but I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens draft their selection 31st overall pick. But before we start, we invite you, please don't forget to click on the likes, subscribe to the Hockey Nation Show, and leave us a comment about this episode. And let's dive in talking about my first subject of the day. First subject of the day is about the NHL Draft Goalies ranking 2023. And today I want to talk about the top goaltender potential to become a starter in NHL. For me is Michael Rabal, played for Omaha Lancer in the last 2 years in the USHL. He's a big gen format, 6'6". Yes, he's not maybe like Spencer Knight or Askarov or maybe Sebastian Cossa. While said, all of them was drafted earlier in the NHL draft first round. But I believe Rabal could become a really good starter in NHL. My selection number 2 to 6, they are pro prospect in my eyes. I believe they could play in NHL, but not as a starter, more as a backup. Now, it could turn around to become a starter. Still too early. But for me, Gajan, Raslav for Seattle, Augustin, Team USA, Bjorn Nielsen, WHL Brandon, and Fowler, goaltender and USHL MVP of the playoff for Youngstown. All my pick 2 to 6 for upcoming NHL mock draft. Finally, I have 7 to 20. Obviously, many of them are not going to make NHL, but maybe some of them could become a goaltender in NHL, so you have some hope. And I select 3 of them. Why? Because they are big gen goalie, and the NHL love those kind of goalie. I'm talking about Clara, Lundgren, and Kaziev. I believe all the 3 are going to be picked maybe 4th round or 5th round in NHL. I'll be surprised one of them are going to be before the 4th round for the upcoming NHL draft. Now, for the Montreal Canadiens, they have some kind of option. They could select Michael Rabal at 37 overall pick, but they could wait on the 3rd round at 69, where they could select maybe Kajan, Augustin, Fowler, or they could go for the round 4th or 5th. They have 5 picks during both rounds, and they could select a goaltender like Clara, possible, or Lundgren. But I would like to hear from you guys. What do you think about my first subject? Do you think Montreal Canadiens should select Michael Rabal at the end of the 1st round or at the beginning of the 2nd round? Let's move on, guys, for my second subject of the day. My second subject of the day, guys, is about the Montreal Canadiens news. And the Montreal Canadiens, they fired 2 mythical staff head athletic. We know Ken Hughes talk about the many injuries, and they have to reevaluate this department, and they finally did it, and they fired 2 of them, Graham Rainban and Donald Bamford. Both of them was employed with Montreal Canadiens for many years, more for Graham, over 20 years, obviously for him. With all the injuries and what happening, I think Ken Hughes went deep on to study and to figure out what is the problem. Not said because of them, but he looking to have new people inside of this department to help in the Montreal Canadiens to limit the number of the injuries. My second news, guys, about Ken Hughes signed 2 players for the Montreal Canadiens. First, Riley McKay and John Parker Jones. Both of them played with the Laval Rocket last year and the Trois Lions and the East Coast Hockey League. They only signed a one-way contract to play in the minor for Laval or the Trois. My last news of the day for the Montreal Canadiens, guys, coming from the TSN, Greg Budden. Yesterday, he released his NHL Draft mock 2023, and surprisingly, he mentioned Michkov, the second best players behind Bedard. And the reason I want to make that kind of connection with the Montreal Canadiens, because he said he don't see any problem for Michkov to not play in NHL at 21 years old. So he expect Michkov join any team in NHL when he going to turn 21 years old. And he said, look, team will be really foolish to skip Michkov. So for me, I would like to hear from you guys. Leave me comments about Michkov. Do you think Montreal should not draft Michkov? And what do you think about Montreal fire 2 head athletic Michkov staff yesterday. Let's move on now, guys, for my last subject of the day. My last subject of the day, guys, about the Montreal Canadiens update. First of all, the Panthers lost yesterday, game number 5 of the Stanley Cup Final 2023, and the Vegas Golden Knights are the champion of the season 2023 in NHL. With that loss, the Montreal Canadiens are now going to select 31st overall pick in 2023. And what I did, guys, I look about their pick 31 and their pick 37. Very close pick. And I look about strength player they could select. So possible Montreal Canadiens could looking for Otto Sandberg for the Sweden players, or Aiden Gauthier for Sherbrooke Phoenix, son of DANY Gauthier, play in NHL. Then Danny Nelson, center in OHL. Followed by 2 defensemen, guys. Lucas Trajicevic and play in the Canadian Hockey League Junior. And Maxim Schrabak play him in the USHL with a 3CD. Both of them are right defensemen. Trajicevic is more offensive compared to Schrabak, where is more defensive. And finally, the goaltender, Michael Rabal. But I have a wild card for you guys. It's about Nick Laudis. Born very late, July 2005. Is a late birthday on that draft. He's 5'11". He has 56 points in the last 39 games when he was straight from Peterborough to Hamilton. He is a really fast skater. Top 3 best skater in this upcoming draft, and I think it could become a good hockey player in NHL. Now, it would be interesting what the Montreal are going to do. Are they going to select a goaltender or not at the pick 31st or 37? Or are they going to focusing more on the winger, both pick or on the defenseman? I would like to hear from you guys what the Montreal Canadiens should do, or maybe tell me one player I just mentioned you really like, or maybe a player I did not talk about and you would like to share it with me. Leave me a comment. That concludes, guys, all the subject we have on this episode. Here we go, guys. This concludes episode number 328. We talk about the ranking goalies for the NHL Draft 2023, Montreal Canadiens news, and finally, Montreal Canadiens Draft pick 31st overall in 2023. But before we leave, we invite you, please don't forget to click on the like, subscribe to the Hockey Nation Live Show, and leave us a comments about this episode. And of course, you have greatness inside of you, and we wish you an amazing, great, blessing day, everybody.